Hi again, everybody. I don't know if I'll finish this today. I hope I do. Didn't mean to be out here so late in the afternoon, but something came up that I had to tend to that took a couple hours out of my day. So I'm not here as promptly as I had hoped I would be. That said, there's really not a lot left, so hopefully I'll get done. Because I got just a little bit more digging and I should be fine. I don't even know that I need the rotary hammer out here today. I might. I didn't bring it. Hopefully this stuff will dry up and be crumbly enough that I don't have to re-break it. And as long as it isn't too dark, maybe I can get a better shot of this in the daylight than I did last night. Again, right this moment, I'm just trying to clear the pathway around where the blocks are going. Once that's cleared, everything else is going to be going upwards again from there, so I don't have to worry about once I dig it down the first time, other than I have to put a hydraulic jack under the bottom of the slab and level it. In fact, it's probably going to bring things up. I've probably got all the height I need. Ideally, is I wouldn't have to dig any of the northern side down, but if I do, it hopefully won't be much, and it'll probably be after I pour the concrete, simply because of the fact that right at the moment I can use the existing dirt if it's higher than the height of the ground, the pad, as a form of form reinforcement, something that keeps the form in place. I may or may not use any stakes, because I'm hoping if I can just shim it and screw it together. By the time I put my rebar in with BOP procedures involved, hopefully that'll be all I need. This one in weird times when I actually wish I had access to common black iron screws. And I say common, they're anything but. Nowadays, and I say black iron, I just mean like black iron pipe versus galvanized. Because if I had some, and there are black iron plowshare bolts, but they're expensive and not something you'd want to waste on this kind of project. And for those who don't know what black iron is, it just is parkerized steel. The only reason you want parkerized steel versus galvanized steel is parkerized steel will weld right through, for one, and two, the alloy of the parkerizing is actually pretty strong stuff, so it actually strengthens the joint of the weld a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit. So once I've got this all cornered out, both these opposite corners, the one I'm working in and the one over where I broke some up on the other side, in theory I should be done with that part. And I promised everybody involved that I'd be done with that today. So hopefully I don't let everybody down and break a promise. Especially not my mom. Now I've dug this a little deeper in theory than I had to. People say, well, that slowed you down. Well, kind of, yeah, but kind of no. Because having a little, get back to haves and needs. Better have it, not need it, need not have it. Admittedly, there is an excess. You could spend months digging a hole to China, and in which case I might as well just dig a new well at that point. But basically my point is that there's obviously a limit to how much benefit I can get from digging deeper, but on the other hand, the way I'm digging, I can just fill up the balance with gravel, and it both provides drainage and provides protection from seismic heave to some extent. And I want to clarify that when I say to some extent, while I say that, it is going to be forged in, including this rebar that's sticking out of the ground. Which kind of, you might say, well, that you just defeated your purpose. Kind of, yeah, but kind of no. What I'm going to do, the only thing that's really, some of it will float, some of it will shift, some of it will move with the well casing. I just don't want it to tear itself apart. And that's all I'm really focusing on, is making certain that it doesn't self-destruct. Because now I don't expect any, New Madrid fault zone level monster earthquakes over here. We're well over, I think, 178 miles or something from the nearest point of the New Madrid fault from here. But New Madrid, depending on how you want to pronounce it. Anyhow, the thing is, this fault zone may sympathetically react. However, I don't really think it's going to be so severe as to destroy a 6-inch reinforced slab that's this small, floating on top of gravel and stuff. My goal is to have a good solid pad. The house will probably fall in before this does, which is probably one of my bigger worries. One time I thought about building an underground home here. Now I'm not too sure that's a great idea. It could be in there and it could either fully collapse and just kill you instantly, or it could partly collapse and trap you in there and kill you slowly. Especially if you didn't have a escape hatch somewhere that was on the proper side of the fault zone. It'd be a beautiful house up to the point it killed you. So, yeah, don't know if I want to put a buried underground house here after all. Certainly not unless I can make certain that it's in a way that it's not in the middle of a fault. After all, to use a thing I often say to people who make road mistakes, you try to make your own road compound and it fails on you, get your own asphalt. I'm assuming that you're using tar, pitch blend or pitch, or there's a joke in that pun, but anyhow. Another Another reason I want to get done quick tonight is tonight's mining forum night. All my fellow hole diggers are all, I say hole diggers, everything, hard rock and placer mining, which right now I'm not even really doing either. I'm just digging a hole to put a well house in. Hopefully someday I can dig a hole to mine some minerals for y'all to see, but we'll see. It's an unknown. One thing about why I want to get this together one piece, because I usually don't produce or release a lot of stuff quickly on the internet, on YouTube, so a lot of what I've ever done tends to not see the light of day, mostly because I can't edit video, and a lot of it needs severe editing or it's pretty much worthless as it sits. That's why most of what I have released hasn't been watched very much. It's gangly and ungainly and sloppy and not edited. Random crap I put out that ended up being too random and boring and dull for the average viewer. And I can't blame them. I'd have a hard time with it too. However, hopefully, this will be the last year for that. Hopefully I can figure out how to edit videos. I know there's all kinds of video editors out there. Some of them even cost a fortune. Some of them you can make a full feature-length movie with. I just want something I can make it look less dull and boring than 500 hours of me not even in front of the camera, or so in front of the camera that you can't see the work. It's almost like an unconscious level of narcissism. It's just that, again, I don't have a good way to put cameras together at this point. But, again, where and when possible. If I can, I'll be able to produce better videos, maybe. Who knows? No promises. Hate to say it, no promises for anything. I learned a long time ago, don't promise anything. Because if you break your promise, you're in trouble. And if you don't know, especially if you're doing it out of hubris, that's really annoying for me, as people who have so much hubris that they ruin everything because of it. Yeah. Clear this back all the way to this edge so I know I have it. That's that corner. One last corner up here. Hopefully that'll be all I need. Alright. Again, to those who may wonder why I'm bothering putting gravel in here, other than everything else, just so I know I have a levelable surface that's pliable and won't compact and harden on me while I'm working with it. Those of you who've done any kind of serious construction understand that the trick with the gravel and or sand is to create a bed that gives you vertical support that you can move as much as you need with a relative level of precision, so that you don't have to try to deal with unbearably small levels of tolerance, because those tolerances affect your precision. And so where and when I can, I create a, if you will, a fluidized bed of gravel or sand, which I can then make proper adjustments to. Let me go get the rock hammer. I need to get a little more broke up over there. Alright, this little bit will finish us off. comes to, it's going to be it. In theory, it's more than I actually have to have. And better to have it not need it than need it not have it. But realistically, can't guarantee that it isn't too high at this edge over here. May have to come over here and pull some out of there. Yeah, better. Better take a little out of this corner here. Looks a little high from here. Now, if you happen to have pretty strong hands and wrists and stuff, what I just did is a really good way to kind of quasi-level an area that's near the surface, because all I do is when I shatter the rock or dirt, or whatever I'm shattering in this case, either rock or dirt, basically I just go in an inch or two, because that's all the more I want to go in, and I just twist the thing with my wrist, and it snaps the ground part. I used to do it with my right hand a lot, and since I blew up my wrist in my right hand, I have to do it with my left hand now. My right hand hurts like crazy when I do that kind of garbage, and so I have to be careful not to ruin the rest of what I have left of a hand and wrist on my right hand. So even though I'm arguably right-handed, I've been forced to be ambidextrous just because of the fact that I blew my right hand up so badly going on, what, 22 years ago? According to the bone specialist, I'm literally missing an entire tendon, and there's no way to repair it, rebuild it, or whatever, in his opinion. Whether there is or not, yeah, you know, I mean, I ain't got the money for a high-priced doctor that might be able to fix it. So, even if there is some kind of high-priced way to fix it, it's outside of my budget, so I just gotta be careful with my hand. And hopefully not do some other stupid mistake and blow up my left hand. Then I'll be pretty much a full-on cripple at that point. I feel like a cripple anyway. I mean, a lot of days I can't hardly get out of bed for all my various health problems, but discretion being a better part of valor. Some days you just gotta realize there's things you can't do. And if you try it, you're gonna hurt yourself. Put it this way, you might do it once, but you'll never do it a second time because there won't be nothing left of you to do it. Because you'll have destroyed yourself on the first try. This does not look right. Let me get my level out here. That's about right. Doesn't look right, but it's about right. Just got a little unattractive slopiness to it there. I'm going to knock that one rock out of there though, just on the off weird chance that it might be high enough to interfere. Glad I know how to float brake. That'll blade a bit shattering just right, and it'll shatter a lot more rock. Yeah, I've mentioned that enough to not talk about it too much more, I suppose. Something I use all the time though. There you go. of the task. Stage 2, 3, 4. I'm not even sure where we're at on stages. I suppose depends on how you determine stages. I didn't really try to put much emphasis on that, but admittedly, as a stage, digging out the spot like I'm doing right now is a part of the stages. Dismantling the original, or, well, not the original, but the third or fourth well house top, I would consider, I suppose, maybe stage 1. I don't know. Cleaning up for the dismantling might be stage 1. Really don't know. If I don't sit down and plan a process out, which I didn't with this one, it's pretty hard to decide where I am in the progress. I'm pretty sure I know what I need to do, mostly, from here forward, but to some extent, I still am to the limit a little bit, making it up as I go along. So, and if I was to do this somewhere else, I might have different needs, in which case this wouldn't be the ideal representation of such a program at another location. Like, for instance, where my other wells are at, just saying if I'm just doing it for myself. Wouldn't do it for anybody else unless I had all my tooling and everything set up, sunshine, and possibly even some additional people for labor and stuff. So I'm not about to do that. But if I ever did, I'd probably have a general tendency to, well, like a lot of cases, stage 1 is permits, and even finding out if you can get permits for what you're doing. And then stage 2, or if not stage 1, is just what they call feasibility study. Can we do it for any price that the customer would want? And that would be something that has to be on us, me, even if I didn't get the job. You know, cliche free estimates. You know, kind of not really, because when it comes to like environmental studies and free estimates and stuff, that doesn't really work very well. It'd be like, alright, I can do an environmental study, it's going to cost me this much to do it. If you want that report going forward, even if you pick somebody else to do the job for you, you're going to have to pay me for the work I did. I'm not going to do that for free. The rest of it, the estimate might be for free, but it might not also. I don't know. Because I don't want to particularly run around doing all of my work for somebody else and end up not getting paid for it. And one of my most favorite sayings about things like this: change orders cost extra. They always do, they always will. If they didn't, somebody's gonna go out of business real quick. And I ain't gonna be the one. I've had people sit there and try to pull changes on me in the middle of a job and escalate it. I'm like, heh heh heh, Bubba, you got me mixed up with some kind of idiot. I ain't gonna do that. All change orders cost extra, period. No matter what you're changing, even if it's 1 inch, a quarter inch, a 1/16 of an inch, even if it makes the thing smaller and less work intensive, it's a change order. Therefore, it costs extra every time. And no, I'm not going to make any exception for anybody. I could do more. I might get a wild hair at my butt and do more, but right now, put this over here. Alright. No, I really didn't need to do all that kind of fancy vacuuming and cleaning per se. But I like how it makes it look better, especially for me doing videos of it. So, what I'm going to do right now is we'll just kind of wait for the dust to clear a little bit. But in the meantime, go ahead and pull the charger off the camera. And let's get over closer and take a look at it. Yeah. And again, this southern edge of the slab, I'm going to lift it up and level it. And then that'll be the reference for the floor of the future. Everything else will be leveled off of that, plus a minimum of 2 inches, possibly more, for the blocks. And then a total of 6 inches will go over that, which would mean 4 inches over the blocks. Some of the concrete will go in the blocks, and 2 inches, so 2 inches beside the blocks, 4 inches over the blocks, plus rebar in the blocks, which will go along the edge. I may have to drill some holes to get them in. In fact, I expect where there's concrete, I'll absolutely have to drill holes to get rebar, and the rebar will come up to the height that the top rebar across the horizontal rebar goes, and it'll all be welded together. Some of that I may take torch and bend it straight, I don't know. So this is my witness mark. I decided that the northeast corner would be the best point to reference from. And I'll just try to make it square, basically. If I find that I didn't make it square enough, like it's too pinched inwards, then I'll have to come back and scrape a little more out. But I'm trying to get it where I know I've got enough so that when them blocks go in, they're not bumped up against the wall at all. Hopefully there's even enough room for form boards too. We shall see. So again, there'll be a lining of blocks all the way around the outside, set with rebar in through a layer of floating gravel to level them on a plastic liner. Then there'll be a plastic liner that just touches the inside of, there'll be a gravel right up about the level of that, and then there'll be a second layer of plastic that goes over the top of all the gravel, but not over the top of the blocks, because you don't want the gravel to allow the concrete to dry too quickly and become brittle, and you don't want it to seep down and sag and flow away into your cavities and reduce the volume of concrete you've got up and make it sink down from the top. And then go around it with forms, make certain it's all dimensionally correct. It'll probably be 9 feet. This is 8'6". That'll give me 1.5 inches of overlap. You take 9 feet, divide it by 3. You've got, minus 3. No, actually 9 feet minus 8'6" gives you 6. Should give you 3 inches off each side, but by the time I add my siding and external panels and everything, hopefully if everything goes well, the actual wall will actually hang over the edge of the concrete, if everything goes according to plan. And I say that as a person who has installed siding for Sears Home Improvement. So hopefully, if everything goes well, those panels will be on the inside, and then we'll have layers of, probably just layers of old carpet and maybe some lath as nailers on the outside. And then when that's all gone in through, then it'll in theory be double insulated, possibly put in a vapor-proof barrier of plastic, in fact most likely, and that'll also kind of cut down on drafts and stuff. So for today, that's pretty much all we're going to do. We achieved our goal. We got that cut out, other than any accidental retrims, but that won't be known until it's measured. And same with trimming any of the inside of the tunnel. And the inside will have to be only trimmed after it's been measured and dimensioned out, and possibly even after it's been formed. I say reformed. It wasn't formed, it was just poured over the pipes, which didn't give you good access. So that's one reason for that, is to have good access. And then what happens after that will be dependent entirely on, as far as the underside, entirely dependent on where I get down pipes and stuff heading south, power connections heading south possibly. There's a main power cycle right there. It's right now it's at 110 volts. I may break it off, put a breaker box, and put 220 in there instead. Right now, actually, it's not attached to anything, technically. It just comes out in the basement. It doesn't actually come out attached to anything. So I could put 220 and then split a leg off for different things, which would even increase my ability to run the generator, which will be in here as well. Generator and some fuel will be in here, and that will be its permanent home with some batteries, so that if the power goes out, instantaneously the generator kicks on and keeps the well pumps running and the water warm, because the generator running itself will just release heat, and then it'll also charge the house. And I may go ahead and put the 7500 watt generator on here, even though the motor is a real mangled up mess. It might just turn out to be repairable after all. I don't know. I've never looked at it. It's a 10 horsepower motor. Theoretically, the one that's on the 5500 watt system is supposed to be a 13.5 horsepower motor, but I really, it's made in China, so I don't really trust it. Seems a little too big. Unless they just thought we'll overbuild it, which would be fine and dandy, but I just kind of wonder, if that's true or not. And of course, there could also be a difference that the 7500 watt, I don't remember looking at it closely, if it's only 110 or if it's 110 and 220. We shall see. May even hook them both up, who knows. We shall see. Alright, well that's it for today, and we'll see y'all some other time for the next part.